Hey there, thanks for tuning in to Duckbricks. I'm Chris, and I just found the brand new 2024 LEGO X-Men Jet early at Walmart, and so today we're going to be taking an early look at this particular new set from 2024 and comparing it to the original one from 2014, two sets that came out 10 years apart. Now in this review we'll be talking about the price, the minifigures, the build itself, and of course doing a direct comparison between these two models, which are basically supposed to depict the same thing, which is really interesting how they're doing it 10 years apart. And so let's jump into our review of the 2024 LEGO X-Men Jet.
Okay, so this is the 2024 LEGO X-Men Jet, set number 76281. It retails for a pretty insane $85, 85 euros, or 75 British pounds at 359 pieces, making it unfortunately one of the worst priced LEGO sets in a long time, and that's counting the hoopty from the Marvels. And this is X-Men vs. the Sentinel. Set number 76022 came out in 2014, had 336 pieces, and at the time retailed for the also not amazing price of $50, 50 euros, and 45 British pounds. Adjusting for inflation, this would be worth around $63 today. Now, both sets include the X-Men Jet and obviously focus on them. They both include three of the same characters, Wolverine, Cyclops, and Magneto, with Storm being swapped out for Rogue in the newer set. However, the original one did come with a Sentinel as well. We're going to be doing a direct comparison between these two, including the minifigures and the builds themselves, but I first want to focus in on a review of the newer set first, so let's set aside the 2014 set and just take a look at the brand new set in particular. Price aside, this is a really solid vessel. Obviously, this is directly inspired by the X-Men 97 or 94 animated series, depending on which way you want to see it. Obviously, Disney Plus is rebooting the series and giving it a continuation, but to me, this is really, really cool because it's the first time we've gotten an X-Men focus set in a long time. Sure, we got a Wolverine mech and whatnot, but this is really the first time we're getting something from a very iconic show and the comics directly translated into LEGO form, but it is really nice, and before I get into too many details of comparisons, what I will say is that it has a lot better shaping than its predecessor. Now this is very accurate to the source material with almost a dagger-like front piece used, and I really love the integration of the Speed Champions elements being used throughout the model itself. They introduced these very specialized Speed Champions pieces very recently for some of the newest LEGO Speed Champions cars, and I wasn't really sure if we'd be seeing those pieces pop up in sets outside of the theme, but they were able to use it to really great degrees here, with using it on the bottom of the flick-fire missiles, right at the bottom here. You have it shaping the sides of the cockpit as well. It's just a really good piece integration of a very specialized LEGO part. Now this does have a lot of firepower. You have two different stud shooters at the front here, you have a spring-loaded flick-fire missile on the back there, as well as a ton of interior space as well. Opening up both sides of the cockpit gets you seating for all of the minifigures included in the set, so you have 1, 2, 3, and 4 seats, should you please. So you can even store Magneto in there if for whatever reason he's helping out the X-Men, or just include another X-Men figure from your collection, and the interior is really nicely detailed as well. I'm a big fan of these stickers, which really show the different controls for the plane itself. You have a steering container here, as well as a look at Magneto on the windscreen right there. Once you close it up, you can take a look at the back part with a really nice sticker showcasing the X-Men Jet on the back here, almost like a holographic display with a transparent clear Nexo-Knights book element being used in front of it. And overall, this is actually a really nice amount of space and detail for a set like this. Now what's really cool is that they also have some storage. If you open up this particular compartment here, you can pull storage outwards. Now this just stores some of the ammo for the front shooters, but it's really nice that they did actually manage to include bits and extra ammo inside the jet itself, and you can actually have that be stored inside the jet, which is pretty rare for a LEGO set to have this much ammunition storage within the jet itself. Otherwise, this is basically how the set goes. There's not a ton of extra detail going on here. It also is a fairly simple build. It pretty much is just studs on the top, some nice parts usages like the new Speed Champions elements, but for the most part it is a fairly standard build other than a nice integration of studs on the side attachments for the cockpit elements here. Overall, this is remarkably similar to the original model, but does improve on it in a lot of key ways, and I feel like the most important part is the shaping makes it feel very dynamic and sleek. Now moving onwards to the minifigures, we get a total of 4 figures, starting off with Wolverine. Now we did unfortunately just get probably the perfect version of Wolverine ever as part of the Marvel collectible minifigure series. This one does come with a new headpiece as well as new torso and new legs. However, This is pretty much a downgrade from the collectible minifigure in every way, shape, or form. There's no printing on the sides of the arms, the legs are no longer dual molded, and it feels a little bit strange to me how we're getting this character just after getting him in the collectible minifigure series, and it's a worse version of the character to boot. I'm not expecting CMF level detail in a standard retail set, but I will say it does feel a bit strange how close they came out after each other, given that we just got the perfect version of him, and this is just objectively worse in every way. Still, it is a passable Wolverine. It is pretty much the standard amount of detail we've come to expect from a standard LEGO set figure. The yellow printing on the blue legs could be improved a little bit, but overall, it's still a nice one to get. Just kinda strange how we got the perfect one as part of the CMF. Next up, we have Scott Summers, aka Cyclops here. Now, this is a new version of Cyclops, which is different from the original one, which was more comics-based. This one is directly based off of the X-Men animated series, so he does have the hair being visible. I really love the design of the visor on the face itself. It's super simple, but it works really well, and to me, this is the classic Cyclops design. Love the color scheme, and I feel like the yellow on blue actually really works here because both times it is yellow printed on blue, so it does feel pretty consistent with the way the character is produced. Appearing for the first time in minifigure form, we have Rogue, who is a very sought-after character. I love how they managed to print the white streak in the hair. I really love that they included that detail. They've done it before on this particular hairpiece, but I wasn't sure if they were going to be doing it, so it's really nice to actually get it here. Unfortunately, the yellow printing on dark green just doesn't really look that good and is a very clear contrast to the way the legs are done. It's not that big of a deal, but just something I do want to call out. Both expressions are brand new for the character and look great, and I love that this figure also has leg printing, which is really nice. It's a pretty detailed version of Rogue, and I'm very happy that we finally are getting this iconic X-Men character in minifigure form. And it's pretty perfect since we just got the X-Men animated series version of Storm in the collectible minifig series. It doesn't even feel like something is missing here by getting this figure instead of Storm. Lastly, we do have the TV version of Magneto. I'm gonna be honest, this is not one of my favorite Magneto outfits. I much prefer the classic look, but I totally understand they wanted to make one that was accurate to the animated show itself. It's alright, it's nice to get a new facial expression for the character, as well as the purple cape, but to me, the pink coloration and the giant M logo is just a little bit too cheesy for me. I understand that's kind of the point of this particular costume, but I much prefer some of his other costumes, such as the one that came in the original X-Men Jet. But of course, we can't talk about the set without talking about the price, and to me, I find it very strange just how weird the Marvel Jet prices have been recently. For instance, if you recall, the Hoopty, which just came out for the Marvels, was around 500 or so pieces for $90, and this one is arguably even worse, clocking it at only a little over 300 pieces. This retails for $85, coming in at a whopping 24-cent price per piece ratio. It's kind of wild how expensive this is, and honestly, I feel that LEGO suspects that this set is going to sell well because people are pretty starved for X-Men content from LEGO. We only got a mech in recent years, and before that, the last X-Men set we got was 10 years ago in the 2014 X-Men Jet set, which we're about to take a look at, so everyone's been wanting this set. I'm sure when the reboot series comes out on Disney+, it will skyrocket the Jet's popularity to even greater heights, and LEGO might suspect they could be able to get away with it. But my question is, as any viewer watching this video, if you are a longtime X-Men fan, if you've been wanting to see X-Men from LEGO again, are you going to be buying the set at full price? And I genuinely am quite curious about that. You see, this is a set that I personally bought full price, but I literally was surprised at the checkout counter. I got this at Walmart, and I was shocked to see how much it was. Like, I thought this was going to be $60. Obviously, since it was a set that was released a little bit early ahead of Street Date, there were no price tags on the shelf for it, and I was just like, okay, you know what? It's just probably going to be $60, which is still overpriced because it's only 300 pieces. But $85 is kind of astounding, and it's a good model. I like the build. It is a good Jet build. But for $85, this is kind of ridiculous, and it is probably, so far at least, the most ridiculously priced set of 2023. And that's why I honestly can't really recommend the set, at least at the recommended retail price. Now, I have seen that people have been posting photos of Walmart's already putting this on sale, so you know what, maybe this is the kind of set that is designed to go on sale immediately, like it does in European regions. But in the US, if you get this from the LEGO store or pretty much any standard retailer, you're not going to really find it on sale, and I find it kind of shocking how LEGO continues to price, especially for whatever reason, Marvel spaceships, jets, and planes at ridiculously high prices, and I'm curious to see if that pays off for them, or if people are just gonna pass this one up because it's too expensive. My only hope is that this does not send the wrong message to LEGO, that people are not interested in X-Men products and only want stuff from the MCU. I feel that this set, I suspect, might not sell that well because of the ridiculous price, but I just hope that LEGO doesn't now think that it's because of X-Men that it's not selling well, and not because of, well, the ridiculous price. But speaking of, I think it's time to compare this to the original model, which we're going to do a brief overview of because they are very similar in a lot of ways, but pretty different in others. Now, when this set first came out in 2014, to be honest, I was not the biggest fan of the way this model was designed. You see, I thought it was pretty interesting with the color scheme, and I did like the sleekness of it, but I felt like it lost a lot of the sleekness at the front here, where it just felt very rounded off and didn't feel very fast to me. It felt more like a troop carrier than an actual sleek jet, which is something that the new set drastically improves upon by introducing the Nexo Knight's pointed piece in dark blue, which I really do appreciate. Simply back in 2014, this was 10 years ago, they didn't really have the pieces to pull off that dagger-like look, so they went with something like this. Now, of course, this set is comics-based instead of the animated show-based, so there are some differences, but a lot of the features are remarkably similar. You still have these spring-loaded missiles, which can be kind of launched at the back here. I actually do like how you can raise and lower this to kind of angle it, which is a pretty cool feature. You can open up the front and back of the model, and much like the newer model, it has seating for 4, which is really interesting, just how close it is to the newer one, but the interior space is a little less detailed. You just have some of these standard LEGO control panels inside of there, so I do feel that in a lot of ways the set is an upgrade, and funnily enough, this actually does also have some storage elements in the inside. This was back when they were including a fire hydrant in every single LEGO Marvel set as an Easter egg. I kind of wish they still did that, but they don't really do that anymore, but they do have weapon storage at the back there, making this very remarkably similar to the original set for whatever reason. Now, I will say that the new set is, obviously 10 years later, is a big upgrade, but there's lots of things that are kind of similar about them, and surprisingly so. It's still using these same very large dark blue wing elements. You're still using these wings kind of mounted at an angle. You have the bottom wings also mounted right here. There's a lot of similarities in how these are done, and I feel that the newer set is a lot more streamlined and more detailed, including some just little detail here with studs on the side for mechanical detail. You have yellow detailing on the engines. It's just a much sleeker and better built model overall for the newer set, but overall they're pretty similar. And yes, this one only does include a few more pieces than the original. The original does also include a buildable Sentinel, which is something I do feel like this set would have been really cool to include. It does have the fully posable mixel joints. You can move it around, it can fire. There's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do with the Sentinel, and I kind of wish that the new set included one as well, especially because we just got a brand new Sentinel head with the Wolverine figure that was battle damaged. I feel like that is just asking for a new Sentinel figure, but maybe that might be coming in the rumored X-Men Mansion coming out later in 2024. Of course, I do want to showcase some of the differences between the minifigures as well, because most of them are pretty much identical. You have Wolverine in a Keyed Orange or Flame Yellowish Orange color instead of the traditional yellow. This one is mostly comics based, so you can see the two different expressions there for the 2014 version. Cyclops is dark blue instead of regular blue, so you can kind of see the differences in colors here. The Bionicle fan in me is making me think that this is more like the Toa Metru versus the Toa Mata in color scheme here, but it is really nice to see. I like the newer one a lot better because the torso was a lot more detailed with the yellow strap, but it is cool to see two different versions of the same character right here. Magneto himself is, in my opinion, a lot better in the 2014 version, but that's just because I'm personally biased towards the suit. I like the suit a lot better, and he does have the classic helmet mold as well, whereas this one just comes with him without the helmet, because that's kind of how he appeared in the show itself for this particular outfit. So, personally, I prefer this one, but it's good to get some variety as well. Lastly, the set did come with Storm, who is using a very similar cloth attachment as the brand new collectible minifigure series version is, which is really cool. It is very unique and one of the few figures that has cloth reaching around the hands, but overall, nothing super interesting to see here. I feel like this is probably the coolest figure in the set for me personally, because it just is so detailed with that cloth piece, but it is definitely a lot upgraded in the brand new collectible minifigure series. Overall though, the pricing of both of these sets isn't great, but to me, I feel that while the new 2024 set is a major upgrade over the original one, the 2014 versus the 2024, I definitely feel like Again, don't want to sound like a broken record, but I just cannot recommend it based on the price, and I'm really hoping that LEGO will take away some lessons from this and start pricing sets a little bit better. They've done a good job of giving us well-priced sets in the past, but this is just not one of them. And that's honestly all I have to say about this review. It's a really fun set. It is infinitely swooshable. Swooshing this around your LEGO room is so much fun, and I can say that from experience. It feels so sleek, it feels fast, you just want to fly it around, and it is so much fun to play with. It just is ridiculously expensive, and I can't see anybody really being able to justify the purchase. I mean, if Duckbricks can't justify spending $85 on a LEGO set, who else can? I think it's perfect to end the review with that, and I hope you enjoyed our review of this brand new 2024 LEGO Marvel set.
Alright, and with that, we have summed up this 2024 LEGO set review. Thank you so much for tuning into Duckbricks. Be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming away very soon. And let me know down in the comments below, what did you think of the set? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? And did you agree or disagree with my thoughts? Thanks, and bye for now.